Hands up. Islam, hands up. Don't touch. Don't touch head. 15. 15. Hands up.
60,000. He called it. He big.
Islam Makhachev's training camp with Khabib Nurmagomedov has been intense, with Khabib pushing him to his limits ahead of UFC 311 against Arman Tsarukyan. Recently, Islam Makhachev playfully tried to have a candid conversation with Khabib Nurmagomedov. Makhachev started the video by giving us an update on his training. "This week we worked hard, the result is obvious. Let's ask the coach. Khabib, how did the guys perform?" The lightweight champion shifted the camera in Khabib Nurmagomedov's direction to ask the aforementioned question, to which the Eagle gave them a rating of 4. Islam Makhachev was both terrified and curious as the rating was unexpectedly low. In a voice that reflected slight fear, Islam asked the coach, "What should we do to go to 5? Khabib Nurmagomedov retorted by stating that he took a rest on a workday. "Brother, you rested on Wednesday evening." Makhachev was dumbfounded, asking if taking that rest day was not allowed, to which Nurmagomedov responded, "Of course not. We rest on Sunday and Saturday evenings." In the end, it looked like Makhachev got the message as he stated, "Got it. We won't rest anymore."
Эту неделю нормально отпахали. Вот даже результат налицо. Тренера спросим. Хайб, что, как пацаны отпахали?
Доволен ли я или нет?
Да.
Честно?
Да.
Четверка.
4.
Брат, отлично.
А что надо сделать, чтобы 5 получить?
Брат, в среду вечером отдохнули?
Да.
Ну.
Нельзя было?
Нет, конечно.
Ой.
Отдыхаем в воскресенье и суббота вечер.
Все, понял. Больше не будем отдыхать.
However, Luke Rockhold commented on Islam Makhachev's skills, noting that while their first fight was close, with a slight edge in dominance for Makhachev, he believes Islam is a much better striker now. He emphasized that Makhachev is more rangy and powerful than people give him credit for, highlighting his growth in confidence and his well-rounded abilities. Rockhold pointed out that Makhachev's endurance, pressure, and ability to improve make him a formidable fighter.
I mean, I think it's pretty similar. I think they fought before already, but it's pretty similar to this last matchup. It comes down to endurance, pressure, and who wants it more. Islam's been on top for a long time.
What happened
so
in the first fight? I missed that one.
It was like wrestling, striking.
Yeah.
It was just a little edge dominance for Islam. But he's a better striker. I think he's more rangy. He's more like, people don't give him credit for what he deserves, because he's good on the feet, man. He can hit hard, and he's getting better. He's getting more confident. He's good everywhere else too. I think he's a longer guy.
Bilal Muhammad shared his thoughts on Islam Makhachev's upcoming rematch against Arman Tsarukyan, calling Arman a deserving contender. While acknowledging their first fight was close, Muhammad believes Islam has significantly improved, particularly in his striking and grappling. He expects a dominant performance from the champion in the rematch.
Islam, he's headlining rematch against Arman Tsarukyan. What do you expect out of the champion, Islam?
I think Arman's definitely the deserving contender right now. Obviously, the first fight was close, but I think Islam's grown so much. You've seen with his striking, with his grappling, everything, and yeah, I think it's definitely going to be on still.
Islam Makhachev's training camp with Khabib Nurmagomedov has been intense and focused, with Khabib pushing Islam to new limits. Known for his discipline and strategic mindset, Khabib has been instrumental in refining Islam's techniques, particularly in striking and grappling. The camp emphasizes not only physical conditioning, but also mental fortitude, with Khabib demanding a high level of preparation in every aspect of the game. Islam's confidence has grown as he fine-tunes his skills, making notable improvements in his striking, a key area where Khabib's guidance has been invaluable.
Hands up. Выше, выше, выше. Выше. Хорошо. Выше руки. Hands up. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. 20. Hands up. Islam, hands up. Don't touch. Don't touch head. 15.
The camp is built around the goal of creating a well-rounded, adaptable fighter, ensuring that Islam is ready for any challenge. Khabib has paid close attention to Islam's conditioning, ensuring he can maintain a grueling pace throughout a 5-round fight. As the camp progresses, Islam's growth is evident, and he's heading into his upcoming rematch with Arman Tsarukyan fully prepared, knowing that Khabib's guidance has sharpened his skills to their peak.
Досталось. 5, Legle na spino. No, legle. Legle na spino.
Brandon Gibson feels Islam Makhachev is the rightful favorite, noting his championship experience, especially in the fight with Charles Oliveira, where Islam showed strength despite challenges. Gibson believes Islam is growing as a champion and expects him to dominate in the rematch with Arman Tsarukyan.
Islam is rightfully the favorite. He's racking up that championship experience. You know, in the bout with Poirier showed his championship character, like being able to really dig down deep in those later rounds, despite the cut, despite being wobbled. I think Islam's really growing as a champion.
Gibson also expects Islam to use his grappling again in the rematch. He doesn't think the fight will be as close as their first meeting, considering Makhachev's growth and development as a fighter.
I think we won't see such a close rematch between those two. I think Islam shows domination and showcases his grappling once again.
Paul Craig expressed his belief that it's tough to dethrone the Dagestani fighters, highlighting their unique and effective fighting style. He said that, based on their approach to the game, the fight is likely to go in one direction.
I don't think there's anybody going to dethrone these Dagestanis. I think they're just their style is beautiful.
Craig stated that, in his opinion, the champion will remain the champion, meaning Islam Makhachev's dominance will continue. He recognized the strength and skill of the Dagestani fighters, saying their consistency and style are difficult to beat.
And I do believe that it's going to go one way, and there's going to be the champ's going to stay the champ.
Terrence McKinney said that while he respects Arman Tsarukyan's striking skills, he believes Islam Makhachev will win due to his size advantage. McKinney feels Makhachev's height and strength will help him control most scrambles.
I like what Arman brings as threat on the feet, but I think Islam will, just because of his height, will be able to win most of the scrambles.
Over 5 rounds, McKinney believes Islam's physicality will be too much for Arman. He acknowledged that this could be Makhachev's toughest title defense, but still expects Islam to prove why he's still the champion.
I think he was a bigger person just in general, and I think 5 rounds dealing with a person with that much muscle, I think Islam shows why he's champ still, but this will probably be his toughest title fight.
Drawcar Close shared his thoughts on the upcoming fight between Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan, noting Makhachev's size and strength, which he believes give Islam the edge to win. However, Close said he hopes Arman will pull off an upset, as he likes seeing new names challenge the top of the division.
Islam's a big guy. I think Islam was going to win it, you know what I mean? But I hope Arman wins, you know what I mean? I like to see change in the top.
He added that it would be exciting to see fresh faces moving up the rankings and taking on established fighters. Even though he supports Tsarukyan, Close admitted that it would be a tough challenge for Arman, given Islam's dominance and skill set.
You know, move those numbers around and, you know, get some guys out. So hopefully Arman pulls it off, but I think it's going to be a tough task for him.
Jamal Hill talked about the upcoming fight between Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan, mentioning that Tsarukyan has been looking strong and working hard, making it an interesting match that could go either way. Still, Hill believes Islam should be the favorite.
I've seen Islam. He's been out here the last couple of days. He looks big, he looks strong, he's been working. But Arman's been putting together. I believe it's an interesting fight. It can go either way, you know, and I just can't wait to see it.
Islam's the favorite. Do you think he should be the favorite in the fight?
Yes.
Hill emphasized that Makhachev is currently the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. Hill also pointed out that Makhachev's great performances have left no doubt about his abilities, and he fully supports Islam being favored in the fight.
100% he should be the favorite. He's the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world right now, and his performances have left not much room to doubt him, you know, So yeah, he should be the favorite, but at the end of the day, it's a fight.
Michael Chandler spoke about the first fight between Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan, saying it was a close and exciting battle in many people's eyes, though he admitted he hadn't watched it himself. Chandler praised Tsarukyan's impressive win over Charles Oliveira and his continued rise in the lightweight division.
I think if you look at history and their first fight together, obviously it was a barn burner. It was pretty close in a lot of people's eyes. I don't know if I've actually watched that fight. I've just heard from people that it was close. But, you know, Arman obviously beat Oliveira last fight. Arman has been been charging forward.
However, Chandler was confident that Islam Makhachev would keep his title, pointing to Islam's dominance and recent performances. He highlighted Makhachev's improving skills, especially his striking and amazing grappling, which make him the best lightweight in the world.
I think right now, I will be surprised if Arman pulls it off. I think Islam has continued to solidify himself as the best lightweight in the world by far with his performances. And I have no problem saying that. His hands are getting better. He just outstruck Poirier. He can outgrapple anybody.
Billy Quarantillo discussed the upcoming rematch between Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan, calling it an exciting fight. He pointed out that Arman took the first fight on short notice, which may have worked in Arman's favor by catching Islam off guard.
Man, that's going to be an exciting fight. I think, Arman took that last one on short notice, but I still think Islam's going to get it done. I just feel like he's...
Despite this, Quarantillo believes Islam is on a different level than Arman. With a full training camp this time, along with Khabib and other top coaches and fighters in his camp, Quarantillo is confident that Makhachev will be even better prepared.
He's on a different level than Arman, and I think, Arman taking that on short notice actually kind of helped him because I think it kind of threw Islam off a little bit. Now that he's going to have a full training camp with Khabib and with all those guys that are in his camp, I think Islam is, I think he's going to take that one.
Youssef Zalal expressed his confidence in Islam Makhachev, saying that he is definitely picking Islam to win. However, he also acknowledged that Tsarukyan presents one of the toughest stylistic challenges for Makhachev.
I'm definitely going to go with my boy Islam, but I have a thing. I think that's the toughest stylistically matchup for Islam.
Zalal compared Makhachev's win over Oliveira to Tsarukyan's performance against the same opponent, pointing out that while both victories were impressive, styles matter in MMA. He noted that no matter how skilled a fighter is, certain styles can be very challenging.
I do believe that. People saying, oh, he fought him on short notice, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, you see what Arman is doing. And they're comparing like, oh, look at what Islam did to Oliveira and then Arman to Oliveira. I was like, in this game, the styles make matchups. It doesn't matter how good you are, but some styles are just not your kryptonite. So I think it's going to be a really strong matchup, but I'm definitely going with my boy Islam.
Joshua Van shared his excitement for the upcoming fight between Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan, noting that both fighters are very talented. He highlighted how Islam is improving with every fight, showing his growth and development.
Ooh, that's going to be a great fight. Islam is getting better at each fight, the guy that you just mentioned.
Van also praised Arman's skills, particularly his strong performance against Oliveira in his last fight. Despite recognizing the strengths of both fighters, Van saw the matchup as a 50-50 fight, suggesting it's too close to call.
He's very good to his last fight against Oliveira, right? Yeah. That was a great fight too. So I think this is like a 50-50 fight.
Alex Hernandez recognized Arman Tsarukyan as Islam Makhachev's toughest opponent, calling him a strong challenger. However, he leaned toward Islam to retain his title, noting that while Arman is tough, Makhachev has the edge. Hernandez pointed out that if Arman doesn't win, it's hard to see who could beat Makhachev. He praised both fighters for their versatility, but emphasized Islam's continuous improvement, especially in striking, and believes with his strong team, it's tough to picture Islam losing.
Arman's his most competitive fight. The dude's a absolute monster, so they're both so tough. I'm gonna lean towards the champ, Islam, but yeah, Arman's a beat, so he's got his work cut out for him. If Arman doesn't do it, who I think would be among the most competitive, I don't really see who beats him, right? Yeah, like who else? Yeah, I think that's why it's such an exciting fight, because they're kind of similar in their versatility, but I think Islam's continue to improve all around and on his feet, and tactically they've got a real brilliant team.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to see him losing.
Dominic Cruz expressed excitement about the matchup, noting that both Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan have impressed him, and their styles complement each other well. He praised the matchmakers for selecting this fight, as they always aim to provide the toughest challenge for the champion.
I just like it because Tsarukyan has looked so good and Makhachev has looked so good, but I think they're the perfect style matchup. The matchmakers know what they're doing. When you look at, they try to find the matchup that makes the worst sense for the champion. Like, What can beat them?
Cruz further stated that Arman poses a significant stylistic challenge for Makhachev, being able to match him in grappling, wrestling, and takedowns. He suggested the fight might shift to a stand-up battle, despite both fighters favoring grappling. Cruz questioned if their strengths would cancel each other out, or if one fighter's superior wrestling and jiu-jitsu would ultimately prevail, calling it a win-win matchup either way.
It's the toughest style. He can match the grappling, he can match the wrestling, he can match the takedowns. And now you're forced, maybe you're going to see a stand-up fight out of two guys who don't like to stand up. Does it cancel out? Or do you see one of the greatest combination of wrestling and jiu-jitsu, sambo essentially, mixed together all in one, and you see that? Like, either way, it's a win-win.
Brendan Schaub shared that Islam Makhachev is not his pound-for-pound #1, pointing to the relatively weaker strength of schedule among the top 5 fighters. He clarified that his opinion isn't a critique of Islam, but rather that there is still much for him to prove in the lightweight division. Schaub emphasized that Islam should focus on dominating at lightweight before considering a move up to welterweight, as he has more work to do at 155 pounds.
Now, when it comes to pound for pound in your division, I look at strength of schedule. I look at who have you beat, how have you beat them. Islam's strength of schedule, when we're talking about, if you look at the pound for pound list, the top 5, has by far the easiest strength of schedule. He's not my pound for pound #1. I'll be very clear. Not my king, not bend the knee, dude. Refute, cut my head off. Cut my head off. Not hating on Islam. I know you guys are gonna run with that. I'm not doing that. I'm not hating on him. There's nothing he can do about it. It's not his fault. He fights whoever's in front of him. But for his management, whoever's telling this, dude, let's jump to 70. Buddy, you have so much work to do at 55. You have a lot to do at 55 before we bend the knee.
Schaub also mentioned that after watching Arman Tsarukyan's recent performances, he would favor Tsarukyan in a potential rematch. He believes Tsarukyan's growth and improvements make him a formidable contender against Islam, despite Makhachev's dominance.
And Arman's going to give you a fight. And I would favor Arman after watching his last 3 or 4 performances. I would favor Arman.
Daniel Cormier stated that the first fight between Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan was a tougher challenge for Islam at the time. Although Islam won convincingly with scorecards of 30-27 and 29-28, Cormier noted that people often expect him to dominate so much that any fight where he's challenged feels like a loss. He highlighted Islam's incredible streak, finishing top fighters like Charles Oliveira, Volkanovski twice, and Dustin Poirier in his last 4 fights, proving his dominance in the lightweight division.
So for me, I like the fight because it represented a tougher challenge for Islam at the time when they fought.
Yeah.
Granted, on 2 fight cards, Islam won 30-27. On 1, it was 29-28. I believe that Makhachev falls victim to expectation. He's been so dominant that if you are able to compete with him in any way, it seems as though you did better. Bro, he shut Dustin out and submitted him. And the story was Dustin Poirier. I mean, this guy, Islam, has finished Charles, finished Volk twice, and then just finished Dustin Poirier in his last 4 fights. That is a crazy number.
Cormier also mentioned that Arman Tsarukyan has improved since their first fight and is confident he can defeat Islam with a full training camp. Cormier believes the two are the best lightweights in the world, and this rematch is crucial. While acknowledging Islam's dominance, Cormier sees this as his biggest challenge yet. However, he emphasized that Arman still needs to prove he can beat Islam, even though he didn't have a full camp the first time. Despite the circumstances, Arman was still defeated.
But when you think about Arman Tsarukyan, he has constantly improved, and he has said since the first time they fought, the moment he got another opportunity, he was going to beat Makhachev because they didn't have a training camp to do that. I think these are the 2 best lightweights in the world. I've watched these guys time and time again separate themselves. And when you separate yourselves, you have to find that equal. You just generally don't get it when 2 guys are kind of running parallel to each other. Makhachev has looked amazing, but I do believe this is the biggest and best fight for him, unless he was doing something different in another weight class. But when Arman Tsarukyan has to still down, go and beat a guy that beat him last time, right? I know he wasn't 100%. I know he didn't have a full camp, but he still got beat.
So what are your thoughts on this? Share your thoughts in the comments section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video.